UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov is over. The main event, Nurmagomedov impressed in the striking, not the grappling, which was absolutely crazy. He looked amazing on the feet, didn't really look all too great in the wrestling, wasn't able to control Corey there, but was able to outstrike him. Very, very impressive performance. A lot of decisions on the card. The only finishes were kind of right next to each other with Fernandez, Murakanov, Joel Alvarez getting the knockout, as well as the Michael Chiesa decision. Everything else went all the way, so not really the best card in terms of like hype and crazy fights that happened throughout the night, but decent card nonetheless. Some cool moments with Shara having a very fun one. Deiveson knocking down Marlon Vera. Durn and Godinez getting a little bit bloodied up in their decision. Shamil Gaziev, the GOAT, having a bit of a snooze fest performance. Guram having a back and forth comeback fight where he was the 8-1 underdog after round number 1. I mean, there were good moments throughout the card. Sam Hughes went out there as a dog and was able to be undefeated Dudakova. So not a horrible card, not a super good card either. But we're going to be booking all of the winners to see who they should fight next. And we're going to start with Dumas. And guess who we're going to give my guy Cedricus Dumas? We're going to give him Abus Magomedov. Cedricus is 3-2 inside of the UFC octagon. Forgetting who the wins are all over. I think Josh Friends might be one of them, or maybe he lost to him. I don't know, but I know he's 3-2 in the UFC. I know Abus is 2-2 in the UFC. The only losses to Strickland, former champion, and Caio Borralho, who's about to be in a main event. So Abus is losing a beast. I like this matchup outside of the rankings for Abus Magomedov. And if he's able to go out there and beat Cedricus, I think Abus could be looking pretty close to get another shot back in that top 15. I still would say he needs one more, but this definitely puts him a little bit closer than the guys he's been beating in the UFC, like Dustin Stoltzfus and Warlley Alves. This is a little bit of a step up from those guys, but not that big to where he's fighting a Strickland or a freaking Caio Borralho again, because those are way too big of step-ups. But yeah, Dumas and Abus Magomedov. I don't think that'd be a snooze fest because Abus showed good wrestling in his last fight. I don't think Dumas will be able to grind it on the ground. So I expect these guys to strike. Then we had Jai Herbert outstrike Rolando Bedoya on the feet. Let's give him a striking fight, and let's do it in December. Michael Johnson, I talked to him in the DMs, and guess what he told me? He told me he wants to return in December. Doesn't matter who it's going to be against. He said Jai Herbert would be fine. I want to fight in December, UFC 310, and I think this is fine to be on the prelims, the early prelims, whatever the case may be. For UFC 310, Jai Herbert, Michael Johnson, 3-round striking affair. Very, very fun fight. Jai showed amazing striking, good technique, good movement, good defense. Everything looked on point. And he has really only lost to legit guys inside of the UFC. We're talking Ilia Topuria. We're talking Renato Moicano, Francisco Trinaldo, and then Fares Ziam. He's beaten Kyle Nelson. And he had a draw with Ludovic Klein, who's doing really good things now in the lightweight division. So I like this one at 155 pounds. Michael Johnson and Jai Herbert, very fun fight. Sam Hughes is going to be next. Great win over Victoria Dudakova. I think this is right around the same ranking. I mean, she just lost to Yasmin Jauregui, so we're not going to give Sam Hughes a huge step up in competition after beating Victoria Dudakova. We're going to keep her right around the same ranking and still make it a good fight. Ariane Carnelossi, very, very good in terms of the wrestling. She's very strong. Sam Patterson has better cardio than Ariane. Ariane is stronger. She hits a little bit harder, so could actually make for a very, very fun fight when you think about it, and put it on the prelims of just a regular UFC fight night. And I think for women's MMA, this is a very, very fun fight. In my opinion, I can't really see how this could be a bad fight. After that, we got Guram Kutateladze again. Told you earlier on in this video, Guram won round number 1. He was an 8-1 underdog, and then he came back, landed some takedowns on Jordan in round 2, landed some good elbows, did kind of the same in round 3, and came back to win after getting dropped in round number 1 and almost finished. So great win there, but he's 2-2 in the UFC. Claudio Puelles is on a 2-fight losing streak. Again, to really good guys, Fares Ziam and Dan Hooker, both legit guys. So he's got to go down the rankings a little bit. Guram makes a lot of sense in my opinion. They're both, don't have like the best records in the UFC. Claudio's coming off the loss. Guram's coming off the win. I think this stylistically could be very, very fun because even on the ground, Guram looked great in this fight. Claudio's very, very good on the ground as well. So I think this would be a fun one for a fight night main card. Doesn't matter where. Could be the Apex, could be a crowded one. I don't care. I think this one could be like a second fight of the main card, or you could put them on the prelims of any pay-per-view. After that, we had Shamil the Blob Gaziev. That's the nickname everyone wants to be giving to Shamil Gaziev. He doesn't actually have an actual nickname for whatever reason, but he's 34 years old. 2-1 in the UFC against guys that are right outside in Don'Tale Mayes. Don'Tale, his last loss to Rodrigo Nascimento, ranked. Augusto Sakai, ranked. Nascimento again, ranked. Cyril Gane, ranked. He's losing to all ranked guys, so everybody that beats Don'Tale is ranked caliber. Martin Buday as well. I mean, his only loss in the UFC was to Shamil Gaziev. He is 5-1 in the UFC. I mean, beating a guy like Martin Buday, I know he got his shot in the top 15 against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Did not look good in that fight whatsoever. But he came back with another win. Heavyweight division is pretty shallow, and I'm going to go pull it up right now just for you guys to look at it and kind of go through my kind of thought process with giving him another shot inside of the UFC rankings. The main reason, why is it not showing up? Is because I think Mick Parkin is the other guy that really deserves a shot inside of that top 15. But I would like to give Mick Parkin Rodrigo Nascimento. I think that's the perfect fight for Mick Parkin to get another highlight knockout win inside of the top 15. And stylistically, I think Alexander Romanov, Martin Buday is really, really fun. Marcos Rogerio de Lima already has a fight. Kennedy Nzechukwu. Derek Lewis shouldn't be fighting outside the rankings. He already lost to Jairzinho. And there's not a lot of other guys outside of the rankings he should be fighting. So Romanov, he's coming off losses. I believe 2 in a row to like Volkov and then Jailton Almeida, I believe. So he should be fighting outside the rankings. I think Romanov taking on Shamil Gaziev as the third to last fight on a UFC fight night. You could put this in Abu Dhabi if you want at UFC 308 on the prelims. Either way, I definitely think for two grapplers, for two wrestler type of guys in the UFC heavyweight division, Shamil could make this fun because he can defend Romanov's takedowns. He can keep it on the feet. And he can put on that striking on Alexander Romanov and make this a funner heavyweight matchup. So I personally like it. I don't know about you, but I think that's the fight to make next. Kaue Fernandez looked very good. Round 1 knockout win with 15 seconds left in round number 1. Was able to beat not a very good guy who's 0-1 inside of the UFC in Muhammad Yahya, so we're not going to give him a crazy step up. He's 1-1 in the UFC now as well. Lost to Mark Diakiese, beat Muhammad Yahya. I think we give him another 50-50 guy in the UFC. Mahesh Shate is 2-2 in the UFC. He's a killer be-killed fighter. He's got a lot of knockout wins, and he's got some knockout losses as well. I think this is a very, very fun striking affair. Again, prelims of a UFC fight night, prelims of a UFC pay-per-view, doesn't matter to me. It's a banger. That's what matters to me. At 155 pounds, Azamat Murzakanov, the final fight of the prelims. My God, Azamat destroyed my guy Alonzo Menafield in round number 2. That was actually the prediction. I wasn't confident at all in Azamat to go out there to win, but in the end, my prediction was actually perfect on Azamat to win by round number 2 knockout. And if we're looking at the rankings, Johnny Walker is the main guy coming off a loss that is above Azamat in the rankings. That doesn't really have a fight. And that would be a absolute banger. UFC Fight Night co-main. You could put this on again on Abu Dhabi card. That card really is going to be stacked. It's already stacked. The main card is insane. So if they want to add Johnny Walker Azamat to the prelims, hey, I'm not opposed to it. But I know Johnny has been wanting to take a break. I know he's been talking about possibly moving to the UFC heavyweight division. He could, he might, but if he doesn't, this is what I want. Azamat, Johnny Walker, get Azamat a shot inside of that top 10. Then after that, we can talk about a Jan Blachowicz. We can talk about a Jamal Hill. We can talk about a Yuri Prochazka Azamat Murzakanov matchup. But for now, let's do a banger, Johnny Walker and Azamat Murzakanov. Then we got Joel Alvarez looking really impressive, knocking out the unfinished Elvis Brenner with 1 minute 24 seconds left in that fight. I think we give him the top 15 shot. He was calling for Bobby Green. Why? Why are you calling for Bobby Green? He's unranked now. Jalen Turner's coming off a loss. He should be fighting outside the rankings again after that loss. You guys are both 6'3". Let's do a matchup between two giants of the UFC lightweight division. I'd be fine with it being a co-main event of a UFC fight night, because if we're looking at maybe the UFC fight night coming up very, very soon on August 10th, this fight could easily co-main that card. I mean, Javid Basharat, Chris Gutierrez. I mean, this fight is definitely co-main event caliber to be on like one of those UFC Apex cards. So maybe a co-main event on a UFC fight now. But this is straight fire. Joel Alvarez is very good on the feet, has good power in his hands. So does Jalen Turner, but Jalen has been submitted before, has been out-grappled, has been out-wrestled by the likes of Gamrot and Renato Moicano. So stylistically, good for Joel, not so good for Jalen, but it gives another mix in to this UFC lightweight division, another wrinkle, another addition to that top 15 in Joel Alvarez, who's 31 years old, in the prime of his career, and is never ever won by decision. Absolutely insane. Bro finishes everybody that he fights, and he is 6-2 in the UFC. Most recent loss, Arman Tsarukyan. Give this man a ranking fight. Come freaking on. Next fight we do have for you guys, Mackenzie Dern. Yeah, Mackenzie Dern should be fighting right next to where she is. I mean, she was coming off some bad losses recently. Amanda Lemos one was kind of crazy. The Jessica Andrade one, kind of crazy as well. So we're not going to be pushing Mackenzie Dern back into the top 5 after beating Lupita Godinez. She has lost to Amanda Ribas in the past, and they're ranked right next to each other. Let's see how good they are now, many years after their first fight. Both of them are looking for opponents. Mackenzie's looking to return in December. I don't know about Amanda Ribas, so I haven't really heard much about her. But again, you can put this on the main card of any UFC fight night, and I'd be perfectly okay with it. Very fun fight as well. Durn and Ribas always leave it all out there, and they always do have some fun fights, especially in this women's strawweight division, so I like it. At 115 pounds, Michael Chiesa, we're going to feed him to the wolves for beating Tony Ferguson. Gabriel Bonfim versus Michael Chiesa. We've seen Bonfim gas in that Nicolas Dalby fight. They're both wrestlers. They're both grapplers. This is very exciting on the ground. And Chiesa still wants to prove that he's top 15 material. Still wants to get back into that top 15. But 3 losses in a row, beating Tony Ferguson isn't going to get you right back in. You got to fight one of these up-and-comers. If you're able to beat a guy like Gabriel Bonfim, probably going to be pretty close to another shot back inside of that top 15 right after that. So I like this one. Matchup-wise, style-wise, could be very interesting. Then we do have Deiveson Figueiredo. I've been talking about this one for a while. I was saying it before the fight. If Deiveson beats Marlon Vera, we are doing Petr Yan versus Figueiredo. They're going to fight in a 5-round main event. Maybe we do it in December UFC fight night. Maybe in January. I don't care. Sean O'Malley and Merab fight. The winner of that one fights Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar and them fight early 2025. And then the winner of Figueiredo versus Petr Yan will fight for the belt versus the winner of that whole debacle over there. So O'Malley, Merab, September. Umar versus the winner of that one, January or February. You do Petr Yan, Deiveson Figueiredo, December and January, somewhere around there. And then you got a champion versus champion type of fight. Figueiredo versus O'Malley versus Merab versus Umar. There's plenty of matchups that could be made there. Or you could have maybe a rematch, a Petr Yan Merab, which would be crazy. Petr Yan versus O'Malley rematch would be insane. I mean, that first fight was absolutely crazy, very controversial. There's a lot of stuff that could happen, resulting in this 5-round main event. I do not want this to be 3 rounds. No way in my mind do I want Figueiredo Petr Yan to be a 3-rounder. If it's on a pay-per-view, just make it 5 rounds. Please. It's a banger. Former bantamweight champion, former flyweight champion. This is so much fun. Please do it, UFC. Then we got Bruno Ferreira taking on Shara Magomedov. No, we're not giving Shara Magomedov Nick Diaz. That's what he was calling for in the post-fight interview. I'm gonna middle finger you, Shara Magomedov. That's horrible. Why are you calling out Nick Diaz after beating Mikhail Lishajik by decision, Bruno Silva by decision, and barely finishing Antonio Tricoli with like a minute left? No, Shara, you're not getting Nick Diaz. You're not getting a ranked fighter. You're getting Bruno Ferreira. So Bruno can go expose your wrestling, expose your grappling, and maybe even knock you out because Bruno's got some crazy power in his hands. Bruno's 3-1 in the UFC, all finishes, all knockouts. Shara, 2 decisions, 1 knockout win. He's 3-0. Right next to each other in the rankings. If you get past Bruno, I'd see no problem getting yourself a fight inside of the top 15 because Bruno has beat Gregory Rodriguez. If you can beat Bruno, I'll have no doubt in my mind, Shara. You get that fight inside of the top 15. You're not getting Nick Diaz, though, but you can get a fight inside of that top 15. Stylistically, this is not a fight where Shara's going to be expected to dominate. The past few fights, Shara against Mikhail, I told you that was a stylistic murder for Mikhail Lishajik. They were setting Shara up to get an easy win. Antonio Tricoli, again, they're just setting him up to get another easy win. Bruno Silva, they were setting him up. He's a power puncher coming forward and gonna come in to a lot of big shots. Bruno, the same kind of thing, is a powerful puncher and is gonna come into a lot of your counters, but he has the wrestling and the judo to also fall back on. So this is a big test for Shara Magomedov. Shara once on UFC 308. I talked to Bruno and he said he'd be fine with fighting at UFC 308 against Shara. Let's do it. Put it as the feature prelim right before the main card. Banger, banger, banger. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it. Main event time. Umar Nurmagomedov. You already know. Title shot, ladies and gentlemen. I underestimated the crap out of Umar Nurmagomedov. We're giving this man a title fight. He just 49-46'd Corey Sandhagen when, I'll be honest, I effed up a little bit. I said Corey was going to 49-46 Umar. So, yeah. I'm going to take that on the chin. Right here on the chin and say, I messed up badly. I underestimated Umar, and I underestimated his striking. I thought Corey would have the success he did in the wrestling and the grappling, getting up from them or defending a lot of them, which he did. Was totally surprised and wrong on the fact that I thought Corey was just going to be a much better striker. Umar showed to be the better striker somehow, which was very surprising. And I think now, stylistically, a matchup with him and Merab is so fun because he can defend Merab's takedowns and he can outstrike Merab on the feet. Stylistically, he's not a good fight for Merab. And for Sean O'Malley, I mean, that's a very tricky one for him as well because he's very good on the feet and he could definitely mix in takedowns on O'Malley, who I don't believe has the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling and escaping ability of Corey Sandhagen, as he showed in the fight just today. So both matchups very fun. Sean is going to fight Merab in the Sphere come September. Umar said he wanted the winner in January or February before Ramadan. So fine, we'll do UFC 311 Umar Nurmagomedov versus Sean O'Malley main event, or Umar Nurmagomedov Merab Dvalishvili UFC 311 main event. Let's do it in January. That's September, October, November, December. It's a 4-month break. That's a solid turnaround for either one of these champions. 4 months, that should be normal. Please, UFC champions. 3 fights a year. Come on, Umar versus the winner. So that's what I got for you guys. Umar getting the title shot. Shara fighting Bruno Ferreira. Petr Yan, Deiveson Figueiredo. Gabriel Bonfim taking on Michael Chiesa. Amanda Ribas. I'm getting a lot of these names messed up here today. Amanda Ribas taking on Mackenzie Durn. Jalen Turner versus Joel Alvarez. Johnny Walker, Azamat Murzakanov. Maheshate Kawe Fernandez. Shamil Gaziev taking on Alexander Romanov. Claudio Puelles, Goram Kutateladze. Sam Hughes taking on Ariane Carnelozzi. Michael Johnson taking on Jai Herbert. And Dumas, Cedricus Dumas, taking on Abus Magomedov. Thank you guys for watching this video. We did profit this card in terms of the betting results. Barely. I'm not going to say we crushed the card or anything because one of our parlays got a little bit screwed because of Elvis Brenner, but I digress. We did make money this card. We lost money the card previous. We won money the card before that one. So we're going on a win one, lose one, but, you know, that's how betting kind of goes. But if you want to see what the bets we have are, we're not making a crazy amount of money. We are profiting just a little bit. But if you want to check out the bets, obviously the pinned comment is going to be down below for all of my bets, or that, the top link in the description. So go check it out. Support the channel in any way you do choose. It's $1.25 per UFC fight night, UFC pay-per-view, doesn't matter. Cheapest bets in the game, but you get what you pay for. We don't make a crazy amount of money, but we do profit just a little bit. And we are up about, 900... I forgot what it was. It was like $985 in like 2 months. So again, not crazy profit, but profit nonetheless. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'm not really selling my membership, am I? But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.